Hi, welcome to Health Beats. This is Katie Sayed.
This is Hannah Quell.
And we are so excited to be on here. We have our first official guest speaker. Her name is Jenny Meyer, and she has graced us with herself this morning to talk all about her gift, her talent, and her alternative therapy, which is Reiki, a form of energy healing. So she's going to walk us through her discovery of Reiki, how it's helped her clients, and also Hanan and I's personal experience with Reiki, because we are very grateful that Jenny has helped us too with Reiki sessions as well.
We've benefited from it. So we're going to share our story with you as well.
Yeah. So welcome, Jenny.
Hi.
Thank you so much for coming on here to share a bit of what you do. So our first question, let's just dive right into it. Walk us through, how did you discover Reiki?
I discovered it through a massage therapist. I was having problems with my neck that I still have, it's like muscle tension. And I'd gone to the doctor and they were giving me like steroids and just stuff like it wasn't helping. And I ended up going to a massage therapist who did this thing that I didn't even know what it was. She didn't even touch me. She was like maybe 2 inches away from me with her hands. And I just felt like heat all over my body. And then just like an awareness of I should be doing this to myself. And that was my first experience with even what energetic healing is.
Wow. Interesting. Did you feel a difference within that first time doing it?
Yes. So the whole tension in my neck was completely gone after that session. And I just felt like I needed a lot of water afterwards. But that was really the only side effect, which was great because everything else that other doctor was doing, like I was feeling sick from the medicine and it wasn't working. So yeah, it was a really good experience and something I never forgot.
Wow.
Awesome.
That's incredible. Thank you for sharing.
And you kind of stumbled upon it. It was just,
yeah.
Can you tell the audience what Reiki is and how does it heal you?
Sure. So Reiki, the specific word Reiki, was discovered, you can put that in quotes, in Japan. So it's a universal energetic healing that anybody can have access to, not just those in Japan. Other countries have discovered this. But Reiki, for some reason, is what's popular over in the United States. So that's kind of what I always refer it to because that's what people they recognize the word. So what it is it's somebody, your Reiki practitioner is like a conduit who can channel the energy from the earth and from the cosmos to heal somebody. So the energy isn't coming from your practitioner, it's coming from the earth and everything else around the earth. And the energy we're all made up of energy. Our bodies are made up of energy. Everything's made up of energy. So it's like energy healing energy, which is the best way I can describe it.
Wow, that's incredible. I remember when you had done your Reiki therapy onto me, it was also helping you out as well. That
yes,
the practitioner also benefits from the therapy session. Can you describe more about that?
Sure. So as I said, the energy doesn't come from me or from your Reiki practitioner. It's coming from the earth. So it's coming through us to our client. So we're also getting the benefits of an energy healing session. It's just the session isn't focused on me or your practitioner. It's about the client. So I'm just getting like a relaxing energetic boost from it rather than like an energy healing myself, but it's still beneficial. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay. It's a win-win scenario for both parties. You don't feel depleted afterwards, correct?
Correct. So I'm not taking my own energy and giving it to somebody else. I'm channeling it from an external source.
Okay.
I
understand. Thank you.
Yeah.
So do you mind walking us through? So you had your first session with Reiki from your massage therapist, and then that kind of sparked a light in you of, oh, wow, this is really incredible. I feel the benefits, especially with the pain that you were experiencing in your neck. So then walk us through from that point on. How long did you do Reiki as a student, or you utilize Reiki therapy for yourself before you became a practitioner?
So I always wanted to do it again. So I would say that experience was probably 2009 or 2010, like kind of a while ago. But every time I would try to look it up, just the prices that people were charging for it were completely unaffordable to me. $100, $120. I couldn't swing that at the time. So I never actually had it done again. And it was in 2018 that I was like, if I can't go to somebody else to do this, I'm just going to do it myself. And I had actually made a New Year's resolution for 2019 that I was going to study to be a Reiki practitioner. And then the very next day, I got an email from my local yoga studio saying they were doing classes at the studio. So I just thought it was just a huge mega sign that I need to do it. And then that's how I ended up finding a teacher to guide me through this.
Wow.
That's
incredible. Pretty incredible. Just the universe was literally telling you that you're on this right path.
Yeah. Once I made that decision of I'm going to do it, then everything I needed to do it just kind of fell in my lap.
Yeah, it sounds like it. That gives me goosebumps. So then walk us through that process of becoming, certified as a Reiki practitioner.
Sure. So I actually did the actual professional Reiki training. Somebody who studied from the lineage to actually go straight up to the original person who started Reiki, named it Reiki, and taught other people how to do it. So I went through a very formal professional training. There's 3 of them. There's Reiki 1, 2, and 3. I've done all 3. The classes are like 5 hours long. You're sitting through like a lecture. You get course materials. You get your attunement, which is when the Reiki master is able to open you up to be a conduit. And I got a little community of other people that are going through the same experience as me to kind of work with and bounce ideas off of. So not everybody is fortunate enough to have that experience, I think. I was really lucky that I found the place that I did with the instructor that I did and had the community that I did. I think it's much more common for people to just have like a one-on-one or know somebody who does it, who's like, okay, I'll give you like a little hour-long thing and then you're off on your own. Mm-hmm. So I feel very fortunate that I have course materials from like the Reiki Association. I've gone through their training. I have their certificates, and I learned a lot about the history and the different modalities. And
wow,
I answered your question.
You really invested yourself into it, though.
Yes. I've done a lot of training outside of my original teacher. I've studied from other people who also teach other different forms of energy healing other than Reiki. Mm-hmm. And I really invested a lot of time and energy literally into my training and into my own education to do this.
Well, we can see your passion for it. It's radiating from you, just hearing it from how you're speaking now. So
thank you.
Do you have to maintain your knowledge base or training in Reiki, or is it once you've completed your certificate, you know it and you just practice it on your clients? Like, how does that work?
They say, and by they, I mean like the people in charge of Reiki professionally, say that once you have your attunement, you have it forever.
Okay.
I personally think that you need to keep up with it. It's not like if you don't ever do it, you'll lose it. I don't think that's true. I think the more you practice, the more you work on yourself, the more you work on other people. I just think you are just stronger at it or get like better reads off of people, like the more practice you have. And I think it's really important to work with a lot of different people and to study under a lot of different people, because everybody is different. Every Reiki practitioner you meet is going to do things differently, and every single one of your clients is going to be different. So I think the more you can diversify yourself, the better you're going to be as a Reiki practitioner.
I like that you touched upon that, diversifying yourself, because I believe that in any art that you practice or that you train with, I believe you never really hit, the final point of it. You never hit that final enlightenment of that particular art. It's a quest. It's a life quest of continuously to build upon that art form, build upon your knowledge. And every experience is unlike the other experience, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just like you were saying, just with every client that you've worked with, it's so different. Every practitioner you train under, it's so different. So it's important to continue being a student, right?
Right. Like you're a lifelong student of Reiki.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
yeah,
pass on
absolutely.
that
Yeah.
skill
Yeah.
set to your clients, which is really
Yeah.
good.
Thank you for sharing,
Yeah.
Jenny. So do you think anybody can just study Reiki and then become a practitioner of it? Because I know you personally, Jenny, I know that you had some childhood incidences and family experiences that you were you had this innate gift. Kind of walk us through that in particular.
So yes, to answer your question, yes, anybody can do this. I firmly believe that every single human being can do this. And I think animals do it on each other. So yes, I think that everybody can do this. Some people are very close-minded and, this is all woo-woo stuff and, pretend or whatever. So I think when you're really closed off to it, it's going to be way harder to just accept. So, and that I'll put out that kind of caveat that if you're closed off to it and you don't believe in it and you don't want it, then you're not going to get it.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, I do believe absolutely everybody can do this. Anybody who wants to do it, study it, become a Reiki practitioner, 100% can do this.
Thank you.
What about your childhood experiences that kind of lend you towards being able to
so
do it as opposed to being more closed-minded towards it?
Yeah, I come from a pretty long line of, I guess the term that they use now is psychic mediums. I don't remember how far the greats go. It's great something. They actually worked in the circus as like the fortune tellers. And so, like back in like the Abraham Lincoln days, there was a spiritualist movement that got really popular. And then his wife, Mary Todd Lincoln, was like so into the spiritualism movement and it got really popular. And that's when people started doing like seances and like the table lifting. I don't know if you know what that is, where someone can like they're like parlor tricks. If you've heard like that word. And, talk there, you can say, oh, we can take pictures of the dead, or like once the cameras came around, all that stuff was really popular, probably, well into the 1900s. So I think they were able to be sustainable with it and make money off of it in the circus. And then I know more of my immediate family, my great grandmother would, I don't know, for lack of better words, would actually see dead people and say like, okay, what do you want? What do you need help with? Okay, and now go away. And she would always tell like my mother and her sister that it's not the dead people you need to worry about. It's the people who are alive. Those are the ones who can actually hurt you and scare you. So I guess I've had just a very different view of the afterlife than most other people and just different experiences with it. It's never been something scary for me. It's just always just kind of just been around and it just kind of is what it is with me and my family. So I don't know if being, more open to the other side, it makes it easier for me to be an energy healer, but I am able to bring those skills that I have into my energy healing sessions. Mm-hmm. So I have had experiences with clients where I felt like a family member who had passed away had just walked into the room and was helping me and doing this session with me and guiding me. I don't know that every Reiki practitioner has that experience. Mm-hmm. So I don't want to say that's what Reiki is or that's what energy healing is, but I've certainly had experiences like that. So I think there is a little bit of a connection there between energy healing and more metaphysical experiences. Whether everybody has that, I can't answer that question for you.
That's incredible, Jenny. You have a gift. And I think that's what gives, at least coming from experience doing Reiki therapy under you, it was literally out of this world because you touched upon something that wasn't here in the present. I felt you touched upon so many different aspects, post-life, pre-life. And I think that's what really connected me to your specific type of therapy and your own tune to it. So It's incredible.
Yeah. Do you want to share a little more, Katie, about your experience?
Yeah, absolutely. So Jenny and I are really great friends, and she was a health coaching client of mine in the past, and I knew that she had done Reiki. So she kind of just did it as a gift to me. It was my first time doing Reiki. So to be honest, I really didn't have any expectations or really intentions going into it. I was really just so open and trusting to the process because I already knew and trusted Jenny. So I said, just take me with as you wish, whatever you're feeling, let's just go with it. And we dove deep into it, so much deeper than I could have ever imagined. I think it was maybe like a 2-hour session. Am I right, Jenny? It was pretty long.
Yeah, it's pretty long. Yeah.
Yeah. And because I went into it with no specific questions in mind or specific ailments in mind, it was very spiritual. It was very eye-opening in a very emotionally healing way that I didn't know I needed.
Right.
It really was this gift that Jenny gave me. We went into kind of some of my pre-lives, and I understood certain pain points that I have had in my body, given what I went through in my pre-lives, which that was super eye-opening. I won't go too into detail about it, but it dated back centuries ago.
Wow.
And what I had gone through back then, or at least my soul, my spirit went through back then, of why I had specific pain points in my right arm in particular. I've always had a weaker right arm, and I never understood why. And we uncovered that I was shot in an arrow there. And I kid you not, as soon as Jenny touched me in that part of my arm, it's like I had this electric surge in my body. Like she hit the exact pain point, and it was this incredible thing. It wasn't scary. It didn't hurt, but it was just like, wow, I connected it. So that helped me understand different pain points of my body. And then we also talked a little bit about my post life as well, and kind of how I manage my emotions and my trauma, and what I need to do to open up my energy levels so that I can handle it in a more productive way for my body. Again, when your body is tense and not opening up to energy, which is what I really learned in my session with Jenny, my Reiki sessions with Jenny, is that that's where your body builds its pain points. But when you understand where your body, I uncovered, Jenny reminded me that I cross my legs a lot, and I cross my feet a lot, and sometimes I cross my arms a lot. That's me closing myself off to energy. And Jenny gave me my action item after the session was to open my legs, not cross them, open my arms, be a little bit more open to energy, and see how that helps me. And I am so much more mindful of that. And I noticed that when I do that more often, I used to always have a little bit more knee pains, or at least my knees were a little bit more sensitive to pain, especially when I would be more active and run. I noticed that it's not as bad when I just open up my legs a little bit, and when I open myself up to energy so that it flows more fluidly throughout my body and not stops. So yeah, and it was just incredible. Wow. I think I can go on and on talking about what I went through. And I experienced this about a year ago with you, Jenny, I believe.
Yeah, last fall. Yeah.
Yeah. And it still feels so prevalent. Like I remember it so vividly and clearly because it was that instrumental in my life. So thank you again, Jenny, for that.
No, that's awesome to hear what you think.
Yeah.
That is incredible, Katie. I can't believe that you dove so deep, and it brought such a deep self-awareness that you didn't anticipate.
Yeah.
I experienced something a little different with Jenny, which is the beauty of this therapy. Everyone's different and people's energies are different. So it uncovers different things about each person. I didn't have any expectations as well. I didn't really know what Reiki was, but it was recommended to me by Katie, who had done it, and she knew Jenny well. And I was in need of some sort of therapy to help with my anxiety levels that I was experiencing at the time. And I never had this concept of pre-life and post-life. And I don't think we went over that when we were together. It was more of just like my personal history from being young, growing up. Jenny told me an hour away when I was driving to her that she felt like I was anemic. And I have a history of anemia. And she was like, yeah, it feels like you are just right. Like some sort of deficiency there. I'm a little more sluggish, which I complain a lot to myself and others that I feel sluggish, I feel slow, and I tend to move a little more slow at times than I want to, or feel more tired than I want to. And that was the anemia, right? That I wasn't really addressing with myself. And then when I was with her, there was 3 chakras that were very active. It was the head chakra, is it the sacral chakra, Jenny? And then my feet chakra. And each one told something different. So my head chakra was very active, and that's the anxiety. And I have like ADHD, so that was pretty like active, and just my motor and my brain was running. And then my sacral chakra, right? I tend to cover that up. And that's my form of identity, right? Mm-hmm. And it's me being scared to show my identity. Growing up as someone different than others around me, I felt afraid to truly like express who I really am to others. Like my parents' immigrant background, like my religious identity, my cultural identity, I felt afraid to express that to others because I was different. And I didn't want to be judged. And that's something that I was covering up. And so me putting my hands over that suggested that. And so Jenny kind of revealed that to me, like, got to open up. And then my feet chakra. And this was interesting. My desire to connect to my roots, which again, kind of ties back with my identity and just who I am, like my family history. I'm not very close with my extended family, and that's part of my identity. And that's something that I grew up missing in my life. And that was the energy there was my desire to connect with that, and also to connect with nature. That was something that was also revealed. I don't know if it was from the feet chakra, Jenny, if that was what had led us to discover that. But I have this desire to connect with the earth, mm-hmm. to connect with grass, to connect with plants. Like, I have a very strong mental and spiritual connection, but I'm desiring to connect with my environment around me. And so Jenny gave me some action items to do that. She suggested I go bush cutting at a forest preserve, and that I spend some time outside, have my feet bare in the grass, touching the grass. Birds are something that I can connect with as like an animal to connect with. And just like listening to the birds chirping outside and paying attention to the birds flying around me, and basically just trying to like engage more with the world around me.
And when you did that, did you feel a difference?
I did. I felt like heaviness was lifted. I had some heaviness in me. I feel like it's trauma too. I think it's trauma just from growing up, my childhood trauma that was coming out in our therapy, and she lifted that up. And I felt a lot lighter. That was something I noticed. I felt a lot lighter than I expected to feel after the session.
And I think that's what's so nice, touching upon just me and Hanan's personal experiences, is how different each of our experience was going into our Reiki therapy with Jenny. Mm-hmm. It is so bio-individual. It is so unique to that person. No matter what intention they're going into, your energy speaks for itself, right? Mm-hmm. And you touched upon it really well, Hanan, when you said something along the lines of
the chakras.
Yeah. So your experience was a little bit more chakra related, and then my experience was more post life related and pre-life related. So very different, but still this ability to connect with our energy.
Right.
And Jenny, what a gift that is that you have, that before you even saw Hanan, because you two had not met previously before the session, that you knew an hour before the session of already kind of feeling Hanan's energy. Is that something you experience often?
Yes, with everybody. So the reason why it's so different with each person is because the session is going to focus on what you need to be aware of and what you need to be healed. And everybody's so different. So Katie, as a yoga teacher, you're working with your chakra points all the time. So yours are pretty clear, So that's why going into a session with you, I may not even need to work on chakra balancing with you, because you already do it. Something maybe more important or more relevant to you is what's going to come up.
Yeah.
So it depends on that individual person's life. It depends on what they're going through at that very moment. And it depends on what their own guides really are trying to highlight in their life. So yeah, everybody's going to be completely different. I don't go in with any expectations. I just accept whatever is coming in. I don't question it. Like with Hanan, I was like, man, there's something going on with her blood. Like that's what I got. So I had like African bloodstone out. I had anything to help with oxygen flow already set, waiting to use when she got here. So
Wow,
yeah, it's so
awesome.
different with everybody.
I have a question in regards to these sessions being different for everyone and everyone's at a different place. So like Katie, she seems to be advanced with her chakras energy, whereas I'm not. So for someone like me who doesn't really work with chakra, is this type of therapy kind of like peeling back the onion layers, so to speak? So like, would I benefit from going to more sessions as opposed to someone who is a little more advanced with their energy balance and maybe need less sessions? I guess, how would that work?
So you can come as much or as little as you want to. The reason why, your chakras, in case anybody doesn't know, are just your energy centers. You have them all over your body. In the United States, they highlight the major 7 ones, but we have them all over the place. And it depends on each person because you can have energy blockages. If you're somebody who doesn't let go of emotions, you're going to start having energy blockages. If you're somebody who doesn't move your body a lot, you can start having energy blockages. If you had a bad day and you didn't release that, you're going to start holding on to negative energy. It's going to start blocking in different areas of your body. So it's really different for absolutely everybody. I mean, even people who are very spiritual can sometimes start having energy blockages in their chakras. So it's so individual to each person that it's hard to answer that question. Mm-hmm. Not everybody has the same energy centers in the same place either. And that's something that I learned working with multiple different clients, is not everybody has that nice balanced 7 chakras going right down their spine. Some people's are all over the place, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. It just shows you how unique all of our spiritual bodies are and how unique each person is. And I think I love finding out new things about people because they teach me things too.
I remember you teaching me that, Jenny, in our Reiki session about how my chakras weren't in the traditional order. Mm-hmm. And that was something that I had never known. So I learned that big piece from you. And what I love what we're sharing right now is that how this type of alternative therapy is so beneficial for others' health and healing journey because there's no kind of one set rule book of how to go about it. It's just a deep dive into that individual to uncover more self-awareness, tools of what to do for what you are particularly going through.
So for someone who's not familiar with Reiki or alternative therapy, let's just say maybe they have some sort of chronic illness like diabetes or heart disease or something like that. How would they benefit from energy healing? Have you worked with clients who are like that?
Yeah. So I've worked with a lot of people who have just been to many doctors and they don't have an explanation for what's wrong with them, or the therapies, aren't working for them. And then they come to me and I'm like, well, the result of your headache is because you're holding on to some, past life trauma that you don't need to hold on to anymore. And then we work on releasing it and suddenly they don't have the headache anymore. So that I think is awesome. I would recommend anybody who is in chronic pain, the doctors don't have any explanation for it. They don't really want to be on this medication that's not helping and causing other problems, for them to just try to seek out something else. I mean, you're not going to hurt yourself. This isn't harmful to anybody. It really, the worst that can happen is you laid there on a table and felt nothing, and then you left. I mean, that's the worst that could happen, right?
Yeah.
So I think just give it a try. Find somebody that you connect with, a healer that you like. Maybe you have something in common with them. And then that'll definitely make you have a better experience, I think. Do your research on who you want to work with. Don't just go to somebody that says, oh, I do Reiki, because, you may not connect with that person, or that person may not connect with you. I think every single client I've had is now a good friend, or we had something so much in common that we keep in touch. So, I think do your research for sure. Ask the person a lot of questions, ask about their background, see if you make a connection with somebody, and then just go for it. Like there's really no downside to just giving it a try.
Yeah. Like you said, there's really nothing to lose.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So as we wrap up here, we have a final question for you. This is kind of just a fun question. Do you have any favorite experience with Reiki, either for yourself or an experience with a client of yours? You don't have to say names. I understand confidentiality, but any sort of just kind of really unique experience?
I don't know anything too kind of out there. I think more for me, I love when I hear someone say to me, this has changed my whole life. I hear that quite a bit. Like, you've changed my thought process. I didn't know like what Reiki was going in there. And now like I had this amazing spiritual experience and like my whole thought process and how I want to live my life has changed. I hear that quite a bit, and that makes me feel really good. Like, it makes me feel like I'm actually helping somebody, like for real, not just writing them a prescription or something. Like, I feel like I actually benefited and made a connection with somebody in a very positive way. And that's what I get out of it, is seeing somebody come here in my house in turmoil, maybe cry a little bit on my massage table, and then leave with a smile and being like, oh my God, you like gave me so much insight into what I needed to know. That is the biggest compliment I could ever get. That's what I get out of this. And this is why I do it and work with people.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
We feel the same way about our experience with you, Jenny. It was
100%.
Definitely.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very enlightening.
Very, very eye-opening, and something that I think we'll take with us for the rest of our lives.
Right.
100%.
Awesome.
So for our audience, our viewers that are listening to us, maybe you're a little bit curious to try Reiki. Maybe you've tried Reiki before and you want to try again. Jenny, you also do virtual too for Reiki as well. So you can really do it with anybody around the world, correct?
Yes. Yeah. We can do distance Reiki too. So, whatever anybody wants to do.
Wow. So you can find Jenny at Energy Healing with Jenny, and you can contact her energyhealingwithjenny@gmail.com, correct?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. And Jenny, you are now also a certified Reiki master, correct?
Yes.
Just recently got that certification. So
I did, yeah.
You've just expanded your tool belt even more. So how's that been going?
Pretty good. For my clients, they probably aren't going to notice the difference between my Reiki 2 and then the Reiki master. It's more for me and my own personal developments and my own self-healing. So I would say, should I see a Reiki master? I mean, not necessarily. I mean, anybody who's gone through at least the Reiki 2 training, I think you're fine with just someone with Reiki 2. The Reiki master, for me, I felt it's more individualized and personalized to myself and my own healing and my own journey. So I don't think you need to worry about somebody having the title of master, because that doesn't mean anything. As we said before, you're still a lifelong student. You haven't mastered anything.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Well, thank you so much for sharing your journey, your experience, and your gift that you have, Jenny, of Reiki therapy, this really unique type of alternative therapy. So thank you so much from our heart to yours. Yeah. Again, thank you so much for how you've helped us. And we hope that our audience has some resources and tools to help them in their healing and health journey as well.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thanks, Jenny.
Thanks, Jenny.